Once regarded as the golden boy of the Cusped Kingdom, Prince Jalen's education shifted from court etiquette to martial prowess the day that Anacrea declared its independence. Since then, he's devoted himself to leading his people to a victory that might one day unify the entire circle of realms under the Morian banner. Few can match his agility with a sword, and those who do find it harder still to stand against his proud resolve. Though confident and even arrogant at times, the prince has a natural charm that allows him to take command in any situation, and he is beloved by those still loyal to the Morian crown, many of whom anticipate the dawn of a golden age when he finally takes his father's place as sole ruler of the Cusped Kingdom.
Greetings, Realm Lords, COR Bricks here, and today we're going to be looking at the Cusped Kingdom's first recruitable hero. This guy right here, Prince Jalen D'Leon, who is recruited from the Aquiline Hall that we looked at in our last video. Jalen is a fast-moving and hard-hitting unit, as long as you're going up against someone who is vulnerable to his attack type. Now, if you're going up against someone with slashing armor, he's probably not the best choice, but otherwise, he's a good, capable hero. And what's also quite important with him is because he is King Mateu's heir, just having him on the battlefield really frees up what you can do with King Mateu or with Prince Jalen, gives you a lot more options for how to fight. Now, I wouldn't say that any of my factions have a main character to them, but if the Cusped Kingdom did have a main character, Prince Jalen would be it. This guy is someone who will pop up a few times as we look at the different units available on this channel for the Cusped Kingdom, and at least one of his transformations is rather significant for the Kingdom player, and it can result in a total game-changing scenario for not just the Kingdom player, but all of their opponents and allies on the battlefield. Jalen is modeled after Sir Jayko from the Knights Kingdom 2 series of LEGO sets, and aside from swapping his sword color, he is basically unchanged from the second wave of those sets. His mithril helmet provides 6 slashing armor, and his hawk shield grants 9 hacking armor. Furthermore, he has a mithril breastplate, which provides an additional 9 piercing armor. While this isn't quite as flexible as his father's nearly universal armor, this is a hefty amount of armor against 3 most common attack types in COR. It will take a more unusual assailant to get around these defenses. Now, if we look at his stats, Prince Jalen is more or less the only general that the Cusped Kingdom player gets on the battlefield. Now, that's not something I want to worry about right now. I'll tell you guys more about unit types and what they offer and what they can do later on in an upcoming video. But for now, basically what that means is that Prince Jalen is going to be very important for moving around entire armies on the battlefield. If the Kingdom player wants to move a bunch of units at once, they're going to need Prince Jalen in the area to do it. Like most heroes, his stats are pretty respectable. He's going to be very effective against certain types of units, and he's going to be pretty vulnerable against other types of units. So let's take a look at them. His mithril sword has an attack of 8, and he has a base attack of 4. That can give him a total of 12 damage that he can deal in a turn. But that's not really all there is to him, because we will see later on that he has a special attack that really amps up how much damage you can get out of this base attack with him. His precision rating is 4, which basically means that he's going to cut his weapon attack in half at night. And as far as critical hits go, he's not going to hit them super duper often. He's got a decent chance of hitting them, but it's not particularly high. With a movement of 4, he's pretty mobile. He can go 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces in any direction from his starting position on a turn. And this is particularly important for him because he has a lot of armor on. It's not normal for a unit with that much armor to have that high of a movement. So even if he's swapping out armor pieces, it's not going to slow him down. He's always going to have this movement speed of 4, which is pretty quick for a heavily armored fellow like Jalen. A health of 25 gives him an average health pool for a hero, but he's got a defense of 8, which means that he's going to be kind of hard to hit for someone that is wielding one of those attack types that his armor blocks against. And like I said before, his armor blocks against the 3 most common attack types in COR. We'll see that in the Cusped Kingdom, there aren't too many units in this faction that have an attack type that can get through his armor, and other factions can be very much the same situation. Before I get into his abilities, if you're finding this video interesting, please like it down below. And if you are interested in seeing more about this project as it all comes together, then please subscribe for more content. Beyond these stats, unlike his father, Jalen actually does have one special attack, and this is called Hawk Strike. Now, Jalen is renowned for his agility on the battlefield, and Hawk Strike reflects this. It allows him to give 3 attacks to one target in one turn. So if he's going up against somebody,
It's got to be the same enemy figure. But say he's going up against the Shadow Conscript. If he's in melee range of it, he can use Hawk Strike and do 3 attacks against him in 1 turn. There are a couple caveats to this though. If he does Hawk Strike, his weapon attack is locked at 8. So if he's got a stronger weapon, it will not really impact his ability to do Hawk Strike. It won't make it any better. But he can change the attack type. So he could be holding an axe, for instance, instead. And conversely, if he's holding a weaker weapon, say you found a weaker axe on the battlefield because you want to switch his attack type to hacking, with Hawk Strike, that weakness isn't really going to impact him either. So it's a pretty reliable triple attack with any weapon that you have in your inventory. The other caveat is that his precision rating is increased to 5, which is going to make it even harder for him to hit at night, and it's going to make it harder for him to get a critical hit. But when you're trading that for 3 full attacks from a single unit, that's a big deal. That's definitely well worth a trade-off when you're making your moves with Prince Jalen. In addition to his special attack, Jalen also has 2 special abilities. So one of those is just swim. Basically, there's a running joke from my friends that if someone's got blue armor in my game or blue clothes in my game, then they're going to have the ability to swim. Which, yeah, I'm kind of guilty of that. I guess we'll just blame Bionicle for me associating elements with different colors whenever I see them. What swim does is if you're swimming, you can move into shallow water without any penalty. You basically treat shallow water like you treat normal land. And you can move into deep water, but it does cost twice your movement to do it. So it's 2 movement to move from shallow into deep, and then 2 movement for every space that you go deeper into deep water. But a normal unit can't enter deep water on their own, and they would die if they fell into it. So this promotes his flexibility on the battlefield. In addition to that, he does have an ability called Visage of the Hawk. And Visage of the Hawk makes it so that Jalen can fall basically any distance down vertically, and he won't ever suffer fall damage. So if he's jumping down from a building to attack, he can do it without risking any harm to himself. If he gets pushed off something, it won't matter. He can even fall from the sky and be totally fine. This is admittedly quite the niche ability, but it can come up, and it could be a game changer for him. It can prevent him from dying in a crucial situation. Last but not least, though it's not listed on Jalen's unit page, if you saw my video about King Matteo D'Leon, you know that since Jalen is his son, he's particularly important for the Cusped Kingdom. If King Matteo is killed on the battlefield and Prince Jalen is out, then Prince Jalen becomes king in place of his father, which is very important for your faction to maintain all of its bonuses. So this means that once Jalen is on the field, you can go out with him and do crazy cool things with him, or you could go out with King Matteo, knowing that you have a bit of an insurance policy, just as long as one of them is safe, that you're not going to lose your bonuses when you are playing as the Kingdom player. Now, that just about wraps up Prince Jalen. Keep an eye out next week as we'll be looking at his Hawk Knights. And then after that, I plan to kind of take a little bit of a break from the Cusped Kingdom and look at the overall rules in general for the Circle of Realms, so that you guys can see how I handle movement and turns and how they're broken up. There's a difference between day and night that I've mentioned a couple of times. We'll learn how that works. We'll look at the stats, see exactly what it means when someone has a precision rating of a particular number. And we'll learn about cool things like dismemberment that can happen to all sorts of units on the battlefield. Otherwise, as always, be happy, be healthy, be well, and I'll see you next time in the Circle of Realms.